Welcome to the Paragon Finals. We have Ben versus William.
Yes, we've got an interesting matchup here. I hear that Ben and William played earlier in the Swiss, and I believe Ben won, although I can't be certain about that. So yes, we have William on white-red humans. As I was discussing with Knishka in the quarterfinals, the red in this deck is really a bit of a myth until you get to games 2 and 3.
Oh, is it the sneaky Needle Spires sideboard red?
It is. It's the sneaky Needle Spires and Reckless Bushwhacker.
Righty.
Those are the only spells in the deck that require red mana. Whereas Ben is playing his own build of tangible Archangels.
I like the name.
Yeah. So it's playing a similar game plan of filling out the board, except he eschews more 1-drops in favor of a bigger package at the higher end with 4 Archangel Avacyn, 4 Archangel of Tides going on, and 3 copies of Secure the Wastes as well.
Cool. And I assume a couple of Westvale Abbeys in there somewhere? Yep, 3.
Yep.
Speaking of, he plays
there
one.
We go. So William looks like he's off to a good start here. He's got a number of aggressive creatures, although he's only got 2 lands in play, but I think, he would have been on the play, I believe, and looks like he's missed a land drop. So Ben's considering what to do with his turn 3. It looks like he's got a Stasis Stare in hand. And I anticipate him going for that at some point.
You'll be quite happy if you're willing, though, even though you're a bit stuck on land.
Yep. No, this is certainly a good hand. So we've got Stasis Snare taking out
it was
that
Lieutenant, wasn't it?
Lieutenant? Consul's Lieutenant, I believe.
Lieutenant,
had gotten in and gotten a renowned trigger. Oh, and this is exactly what William wants to see. A Knight of the White Orchid, which is going to add to his board presence and is going to find him a Plains.
Yeah, that was definitely a good pickup from William.
So we got a Battlefield Forge there for William, which, as we were saying, doesn't really do anything until after sideboard comes in. And Ben follows up with a Knight of the White Orchid of his own, making sure that he can keep hitting his land drops. I think that Knight of the White Orchid is probably pretty important for Ben. He's only running 24 lands, which is a normal amount, but he does want to get to quite a lot of mana. He's got 2 Griff's Boon, which cost 5 to activate to get back, which is something that he wants to be doing. He's got 4 Archangel Avacyn, as we said, 4 Archangel of Tides, which needs 4 mana in play, and he also is playing 3 Secure the Wastes, so he really doesn't care if he ends up with a lot of lands in play.
And you'd think the person strapped on land, the person that limits the most would be Ben.
Yes.
Given his higher curve.
Yeah, definitely. William can make many plays with only 1 and 2 mana available, whereas Ben, he can certainly do things, but the chance of him getting stuck with some expensive spells in hand is quite high. And I think, so he's again not hit his land drop for the turn.
That's one of the Archangels. Archangel of Tides.
Yep.
A lot of text on that card.
There is a lot of text on this card. We saw this put in a lot of work in the last game of the semi-finals. This was Dennis figured out basically that he was very likely to win the game were it not for a very specific combination of cards in Ben's hand, and turns out that Ben had Archangel Avacyn into Archangel Tides, which prevented him from being able to win with the decimator of provinces that he had in hand.
It's a value declaration there.
Mm-hmm.
Getting rid of both the knights.
Yeah. Declaration not as good in this spot, given that William is able to spend his large amounts of mana, really, and draw those cards almost immediately.
Now, is that the town's monger?
Yeah, I think that's a town gossip monger there, and a consul's lieutenant for William. Followed up by what I believe is Thalia's lieutenant, given by the fact that he's reaching for something.
Dice.
Yes. Yeah, so this as I was talking with Kanishka in the quarterfinals, Thalia's lieutenant really wanted the payoff cards for being able to go so wide with this deck.
Definitely, yeah. It's a little bit tricky for Ben. That's a very wide board for him to deal with.
It is. Fortunately for him, the Archangel deals with it in some manner. It's the Archangel means that William can't attack with the entire board. If the Archangel was missing a few lines of text here, then it wouldn't be as good, which is true for most Magic cards. But yes, William does have an amount of mana, though. He does have a good enough amount of mana that he will be able to start attacking. I think he's focusing on deploying as many threats as possible before doing that, though.
Ben does have the flies, though. That is something that's on his side.
Yeah. Who do you think is favoured in the long game, Virginia?
I would have to go with Ben here, I think. Particularly if he gets his Aversons online as well. I think that would be difficult for William to handle big things in the air.
Yeah, definitely. There we see the advantages of giving up on some of the early aggression in this build, but playing towards the big haymakers that you can make in the mid to late game.
Yeah.
Avison certainly messes with some combat maths.
Definitely.
And this matchup there's a lot of combat going on.
Looks like there's a transformation.
Yeah, I think that's a town gossip monger transforming into an incited rabble. This is a 2/3. It is a 3/4 with a +1/+1 counter, and William can pay 2 mana to give it +1/+0 until end of turn. So, incited rabble, I believe, is the name of the backside. Yeah, with the very small downside in this case of must attack each turn if able. I'm sure this is something that William was planning on doing anyway.
Yeah, you don't play that deck and not attack.
Yeah. So William there having to attack the rabble in and Ben here has got Scale the Wastes, which is Secure the Wastes, which is building up his board quite substantially, and that's going to allow him to transform his Hanweir Militia Captain, which is going to be quite big.
Yeah. And it does have a sneaky little Westvale there as well.
He does. That is a combination of magic cards, which I hear is quite good. Yes. We haven't seen an Ormondal on stream yet, as far as I'm aware, but
we haven't.
Kanishka and I were certainly talking about it as a possibility in the quarterfinals with William against David. But William was not able to draw and get his 1 copy of Westbale Abbey online. But Ben here is Ben's playing 3 copies of the land. Yeah. Here we go. So this Westvale Abbey is going to allow Ben to either keep producing creatures to add to his board, or he can sacrifice 5 creatures, which he has plenty of creatures to spare at the moment. Although I think Ben is considering at the moment the pros and cons of going for the Ormondal. It isn't an easy decision, I don't think. It would lead to him giving up quite a lot of his board. Although, here we go. So he had a momentary freeze in the visual, and it seems as though Ben has gone for Ormondal.
I like this play. I like being aggressive, given that William is on low-ish life, and he can't deal with flyers. That's one way to deal with
there
flyers.
We go. Alright, so we've got a declaration in stone taking down the Ormondal, one of the few ways in the standard format that you can deal with an Ormondal. But a good way of doing it. I still do like Ben's play, though. The lifelink on Ormondal helps a lot. So he's now put himself back up to 20 life. William needs to pay a substantial amount of mana if he wants to attack with anything. That Hanweir Militia Captain is still 5-powered creature, and looks like William is shuffling up.
William's seen enough angels for one round.
Yeah. There was a large number of angels.
So looking at the sideboard, what do you reckon William can bring in against this deck?
William, I'm really not sure. It is I don't think it's a good matchup for him. I think that he'll be trying to come out of the gates quite quickly. But that it's not that effective against Ben. So even though Ben doesn't have these 1-drops, he's got a lot of 2-drops. And a lot of the 2-drops can either chump or trade against William's board. But I think Silk Wrap is a consideration for something that he can bring in.
A couple of snares?
Stasis Snare to deal with the Avacyn and the Archangel of Tides. These are things that certainly could be quite effective.
Because it did seem like what really put the brakes on it was the Tides, the Angel of Tides.
The Archangel. The one of the main differences between these decks, certainly. So William, although he is playing a one-off copy of Archangel Avacyn, does not have any of these Archangel of Tides. It is a good card. It hasn't seen much play in the standard format. It's seen some fringe play. I know Sam Black tried to build a deck around it, mono white. When soon after it came out, I believe he played that in Worlds, but it didn't come to much. It's Ben's certainly showing off that it is a powerful Magic card.
I'm a bit sad I didn't see more play. I guess the mana cost was quite restrictive. And it was kind of competing with Gideon as well.
And I think also for a lot of its lifetime in Standard, it was competing with some very powerful multicolour cards.
The Rhino comes to mind.
Yes, they were just better things to be doing for 4 mana. And also, the deck building restriction of being mono white was quite hefty, because there were so many. It was actually much easier getting to that 1 black, green, white in the format than it was getting to 1 triple white, because of the way that the fetch lands and the battle lands ended up working out. So the deck building restriction of being mono white was much more of a sacrifice, I think, in the earlier parts of Archangel of Tides time in Standard.
It definitely didn't seem there was much payoff either to be solely mono white. So Ben's on the mulligan, unfortunately. He's on the draw, though. Down to 6.
So I think William would be quite happy to be on the play. This gets him a chance to really push out a number of his 1 and 2 drops and get Ben to a low enough life total that he can potentially attack and pay through to get enough damage through a potential Archangel of Tides. So here that Ben has scried a land to the bottom. It looks like our video has frozen momentarily, unfortunately. We are trying to get that back for you. Alright, this looks like... Here we go. So, William has started off with an Anointer of Champions, and it looks like something has been Declaration in Stone. We'll see if we can get the players to move their graveyards into camera, but we have a quick follow-up from William of a Dragon Hunter. We have a Knight of the White Orchid from Ben. But yeah, so I think that... Yeah, so there's been a Declaration in Stone getting rid of a Knight, like? A Knight of the White Orchid, which I think William must have played without getting the land.
Yep.
So it looks like he's got a Battlefield Forge and stuff in hand, though, so he shouldn't be hurting or wanting for more lands.
That's often the thing with the Knight on the play.
Yeah.
You normally don't get the extra value.
Yep. I think William is pretty happy having a 2/2 first striking attacker, which he can make a 3/3 with the Anointer of Champions and attack through Ben's board at this point.
Do you think he would have brought in the Bushwhacker?
I'm not sure. It's difficult. I do think that it is hard for William to push through in these board states, but I think that the Archangel of Tides, just if there's one in play, it makes it very difficult for William to get through that. And I think that really, if there isn't an Archangel of Tides in play, then William's probably pretty happy with the board state. Like, being on the play, if he's able to do what his deck does normally, I don't think that having the Bushwhacker package in the deck is going to be very helpful, because that requires you to build up a board and then attack with a lot of things.
So you think it's more likely that he would have brought in the stasis stance rather than going more aggression?
Yep.
That was watching is helpful?
Definitely. An interesting interaction we saw William use in the quarterfinals as well with Anointer of Champions, and always watching. The Vigilance allows it to pump itself, which is...
That's cool.
Yeah. And Ben, respecting the power of the, seemingly innocent Anointer of Champions, he's going to double block there, and he's going to kill off the first striker, and leave Ben with just the 2/2 Hanwea Militia Captain. Yeah, talking definitely in the quarterfinals with William against David, the Always Watching and Thalia's Lieutenant are really what the deck wants to see.
Definitely.
The early aggression is good, but you really need to be able to capitalize on it with one of these payoff cards.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a bit of a discussion, just making sure that the life totals of these players are consistent. Yep, the players seem happy with that now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Ben has a Secure the Wastes in hand.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to allow him to transform that Hanwei Militia Captain at some stage, which he would be quite happy about. The 5/5 is something that would be quite difficult for William to continue attacking through.
Yeah, it transforms at the beginning of his upkeep.
Yeah, yeah. So if he's going to cast these, yeah, so he's casting this Secure the Wastes for X is 4. It's going to get him 4 1/1 warrior creatures. And that's going to, on his upkeep, as long as all 5 of his creatures survive until his upkeep, it's going to allow him to transform. So William Dyson is enchanting his Knight of the White Orchid, giving it griffin wings. And then we see transformed Hanweir Militia Captain.
And it's another one.
Yep. These guys are going to be quite large. Nice, just making sure that enters the battlefield tapped, because we see William has a Thalia, Heretic Cathar in play. That card has been quite good so far. It hasn't been in standard long, but...
No, it's definitely making an impact.
Yeah.
Ben's on a bit of a clock here. He does have a, what is that, a 3, 4, 5? No, 3, 4. A 4/4 first striking.
Yeah, I think it's a 4/4 first striker with vigilance. So Ben really wants one of his angels here.
Yeah, definitely.
He's meant to be the one with the the big flying guys. That declaration in stone.
The painful declaration.
Yeah, it's also going to prevent Ben's other Hanweir Militia Captain from transforming, and it's going to make his transformed one much smaller, and that's going to make it gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, William has really been able to swing this board state back into his favour.
Yeah.
And it looks like Ben has a Lone Plains in hand. Nope. What is that card?
Immolating Gleb?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't seen that card in a while, if that
Yeah,
was what that was.
I'm not even sure what that card does. It looked like a game day promo of some description that Ben was playing. Here we go.
Destroy target creature.
Nice and simple.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. That seems pretty good.
Against deck that wants to attack? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that another Griff Spoon? Looks like we've got a flying Talia.
Yeah. And there we go. Ben has scooped them up, and we are going to a game 3. So yeah. What do you think the most important parts of that game were, Virginia?
It seemed to be whoever had the best board position.
Yeah. Yeah. The board position changed a lot during that game. I think.
Yeah, the turn where William was able to deploy 2 or 3 removal spells.
Yep.
And that huge declaration just seemed to just seal the deal for him.
Yep. That let him keep attacking. And I think that, Ben not getting one of his big flying blockers was something that really hurt him there.
Yeah.
And he's got a number of ways to produce a big flying blocker. He's got, as we said, four Archangel of Ties, 4 Archangel Avacyn, and he's got 2 Griff Spoon of his own.
It is the deck's namesake. So.
It is. But yes.
Interestingly, I didn't see Ben sideboard there, so it looks like he's keeping whatever he's sideboarded in.
I think he's probably pretty happy with how it's gone. I think his deck is probably going to play out very similar, whether he's on the play or the draw, whereas William might need to change his strategy a little bit, given that the early aggression and establishing a board presence is going to be harder. So it looks like Ben is keeping and William is mulliganing. Yeah, we have Ben on the play.
So what do you want to see with William on game 3 on the draw? Does he want to keep an aggressive hand, or does he want to keep a slightly more defensive hand with the snares and the...
I think that he does really want to have an aggressive hand, but he wouldn't mind one stasis snare, say. I think that's really what he's looking for.
Yeah.
Being on the draw, the Knight of the White Orchid start becoming much better.
That's true. Yeah.
Because he's going to be able to get the added value of those lands.
Yeah.
Which is always nice, especially on a mulligan.
What? One too many cards?
This is dealt out. There we go. All right. Yep.
Just checking that's okay.
Yep, you can hear some laughter from the next room.
Oh, I don't see many lands in that hand. I think I see one Plains.
I don't see many. It looks like he's considering keeping, and he's looking at the top card of his deck.
Yep.
Looks like that's a keep. Alright. We've got a Town
turn one.
Gossip Monger.
Turn on plays. What you want to see in that deck?
Yep. Looks like Ben is considering among 2 drops. I think he's got a Thalia's... I can't see exactly what is in his hand. I think there's a Westphale Abbey in there somewhere though. But he's gone with the Knight of the White Orchid without the added benefit of the land.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's a good start from William. This is where you want to be.
Definitely.
2 1-drops on turn 2.
And he's going to be able to transform at least one of those Town Gossip Mongers.
Yep.
Well, he will be able to transform one of them. Yeah, we've got an Always Watching from Ben. That's going to be quite hard for William to fight through.
Yeah. And that's just not what William wants to see, does he? Like
not at all.
A big first striking dude.
Yeah, so now his Town Gossip Monger, the Incited Rabble, is going to be forced to attack.
Yeah.
And the first strike on that Knight of the White Orchid is going to be playing a very important part in these next couple of turns. Oh, William does find, though, Athalia's Lieutenant, which is going to let him make his board a bit bigger, and that's going to let his Incited Rabble attack in.
That was a good find there from William.
Yeah, no. So, Athalia's Lieutenant acting as a pseudo Always Watching here. And William leaving the other Town Gossip Monger back. So he's probably going to transform that at the end of Ben's turn. Although Ben has found Archangel of Tides.
Yeah. This is one of the problem cards we thought William would not want to see.
Yeah. So William really needs to have a Stasis Snare or a Declaration in Stone here to be able to keep the offensive happening.
If he does find one, it's a very favourable board position for him.
Yep. And so... Ben attacked with the Knight of the White Orchid, and it appears as though William has blocked and transformed his Town Gossip Monger, which has led to it being able to eat the Knight of the White Orchid. I think they were just checking there whether the Thalia's Lieutenant gets a +1/+1 counter, but I believe it does not, given that the Incited Rabble has not entered the battlefield. It's merely transformed.
Oh, there's the declaration.
There we go. Alright. William is certainly still in this game.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say he's well ahead at this point.
Definitely swung in his favour. That's exactly what he needed, that declaration.
Oh, and we've got another Thalia's Lieutenant here following up. Ben might be very close to just being dead this attack. Certainly he will be facing down lethal next turn.
Do you think Ben would have brought in a Wrath game 3?
I don't think Ben has any Wraths, so to speak.
He's got one Tragic Arrogance.
He does have one Tragic Arrogance. Quarantine Field can also do a good impression of a Wrath in certain situations. But, I think he may have brought them in. It's certainly Tragic Arrogance wouldn't be bad in this situation. But yeah, we see Ben's on 3, and he really needs to either have he really needs Secure the Wastes in hand, and even then I'm not sure. Yeah. Secure the Wastes would let him survive 1 turn. See, William
cracks the clue.
Making sure to crack the clue. Seeing if he can get the other Thalia's Lieutenant any bigger. Yeah.
I think.
So we've got a Dragon Hunter, and I think that puts it so that not even Secure the Wastes will save Ben. Yeah, given that both the smallest of William's creatures has 3 power now.
Yeah.
Because of that Always Watching. Or not? No,
Ooh.
William does not have an Always Watching in play. It's my mistake.
That was Ben. Yep.
Yeah. So instead, Ben falls to 1. Although I do think he drew another Secure the Wastes for the turn.
Oh, right.
But that's not going to be good enough. William Dyson wins the inaugural Paragon event.
Well done, William.
The Diamond Open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations to William.
First Paragon Open winner who goes straight to the Invitational.
Yeah.
In December.
So that was a reversal of the earlier match, I believe, that these players played in the Swiss rounds of the tournament.
Yeah.
William getting there with some good plays, and he just flooded the board too much in that game 3 for Ben to be able to come back in and dealt effectively with the Archangel of Tides, which I think is key to that game going the way that it did.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us on our first Paragon Games stream. See you all in 2 weeks for the next Open at Jolt Games, and that will be Modern. Yep. I'm Virginia, and that's Jacob.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching.
See you guys in 2 weeks.